Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Actors Agenda. Agenda.
You're going to do that every time?
I do. I think I'm going to. Well, you know why? Because it makes me smile.
Okay, that
And-
makes me cringe. I'm Clementine Heath.
I appreciate your honesty. And I am Mike Manning. And we are here for another episode of The Actors Agenda, where this week we are interviewing the D'Ambrosio twins, Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio. But before we get in, how are you, Clementine?
Good, busy.
Busy?
Busy's good.
You traveling soon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting on a plane.
Going
to DC. It's to support the Creative Coalition. They're an organization that are fighting to keep the arts funded by the government. And there's a lot of Hollywood support. So this is all lining up with the White House Correspondent Dinner, which is Saturday night.
Okay, yeah.
So we're
And who's involved in that?
agents and managers and a lot of actors. Alec Baldwin. We've got Molly Ringwald is coming. It's a big list.
Yeah, why that sounds great.
No, it's good. It'll be a whirlwind 48 hours, and haven't been to Capitol Hill, so it'll be interesting.
And then you'll be back.
And then I'll
DC,
be back.
DC were my old stomping grounds. I used to live there. Some people don't know this. I hid it for a while, but now I don't hide it as much. But I did Real World DC, and that
It was in DC.
It was in DC, yeah.
Right,
So I was
okay.
living in Colorado, but then to film the show, they moved me to DC, and it was what is it? 8 strangers picked to live in a house to have their lives taped and blah 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 blah. But that was my first time living in DC. Being there truly changed my understanding of politics and my respect for the political system.
Is that a question?
Mark? Because
Agenda.
I thought for 5 minutes I was going to go into politics, and then I decided
I could see you in
no,
politics.
I want to be in entertainment. It must be more fulfilling and easier. Little did I know that it's really not easier, but I think it's more fulfilling.
Well, I think when you're working as a storyteller, you have the opportunity through telling stories to remind people of their humanity, to inspire people to be the best that they can be. And, with politics, unfortunately, it's just soul crushing.
Well, some people like it. I mean, I think the main thing here is to find something, your thing, whatever that is, that you love so much that it just drives you. And whether that's politics, whether that's entertainment, just working at something that you have a passion for and that will not feel like work because you're enjoying the journey just as much as trying to get to the destination. I was reading an interview with Kate McKinnon the other day,
I love
and
her.
from SNL, from Barbie. I mean, she's just having her moment right now.
SNL.
She's been having her moment for
SNL.
a while, but she's just so talented.
Yeah.
And she said, and I quote, "You've got to believe in yourself, and you just have to work harder at it than you've ever worked at anything before in your life. And if you keep doing that and keep believing in yourself, great things do happen." And I do. It's just kind of a nice reminder that even someone like Kate McKinnon, everybody struggled at one point. All it takes is a phone call. All it takes is an email. All it takes is a meeting. And you never know when your big break is going to happen. I mean, Morgan Freeman didn't get recognized for his acting until his 40s and 50s. And now he's an Oscar winner. He's one of the most highly decorated actors of our time. He has played God in, 2 or 3 movies. I guess so. My point here is just keep working, and you never know when it's going to happen. Everybody has their own journey.
I think it also lends to when you're pursuing your passion as opposed to going through the motions for somebody else. David Bowie spoke about this as well. He was like, if you're working for somebody else and their dreams, it's going to, and I'm paraphrasing, but there's never going to be a sense of fulfillment. But as an artist, if you just keep working for yourself and what it is that you believe in and are wanting to create, you will never tire from it. You will always be wanting to achieve more and to do better. And that's kind of the fuel in the creative passion that keeps people constantly searching for what's in their soul and how they want to express it. Even if you're dragging your feet on the floor and you haven't slept in days, you'll still push to get across the finish line.
So speaking of finding that passion and just going for it, this week we speak to Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio,
Twins.
the twins. And I first met them when they were 9 years old at a meeting for Boo to Bullying, an anti-bullying organization that we were both a part of. And now they're 18 years old and they're both in college. One goes to USC, one goes to Berkeley. They're in writing programs, directing programs, super smart, super driven.
And they kind of they carved this out for themselves too when they were young.
Well, the cool thing about them is that they started when they were 2.5,
right,
on
twins.
The Young and the Restless.
Oh, okay.
So it was one of those Full House type situations where they were under a certain age, so they wanted to have them as twins, but play the same character. So they both played Summer Newman.
Oh, yeah.
On Young and the Restless.
Okay.
And then at a certain point, their parents sat them down and said, "Hey, do you really want to do this?" And they said yes. It wasn't like, some of these child actors that you hear about, especially now, some of the horrible things they went through and being forced into it. They chose it for themselves, and I think that is the main reason that they are still in it and still passionate.
When I was a child, my mom had us doing commercials. I was doing commercials before I could speak. I just loved being on set. I loved it. But once high school came around, my mom was like, you need to focus on your studies. You can do this later on. So I'd had offers to do full-time on some TV shows, and my mom said, absolutely not. So I'd do little guest spots, but I wasn't allowed to commit a contract to anything until after I finished high school. Although I threw myself into the arts in high school, and I really nurtured my creative writing, my artistic voice, and my artistic expression. So I think a lot of that really laid the foundation for me to be where I am now anyway.
Well, and you also have to be a person. You also have to live life in order to mimic life and to portray life on the screen.
Especially
and on stage,
when you're young.
You have to have a life.
That's a good point.
And I think these girls both did that. So the thing I think is cool is for listeners, especially younger actors or parents of younger actors that are listeners, these twins grew up in front of the camera. They were on, obviously, 2.5 years old, Young and the Restless, but then they were on Nickelodeon's Nicky, Dicky and Dawn. They were on Parks and Rec, legit on FX, Disney Savages. I did a film with them called Slapface, a horror film. And then they're also on The Bay, which is how they were both Emmy nominated as producers, Emmy nominated as actresses, and then one of them won an Emmy for acting. So we have that in common. So without further ado, this is the interview with Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio. It's the actor's agenda. Na, 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 na. It's the actor's agenda. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Actor's Agenda. I'm Mike Manning, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So I think I first met you when you were 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Like time has flown by. But ever since I met you, you've been two of the hardest working actresses, creators, artists in the industry, and you never stop.
Oh.
Ever.
Oh.
And I just don't know where that, I just want to know where that comes from, because I feel like your story would inspire a lot of people, particularly newer actors, looking to sort of find their place in the industry. So I know you very well, but for those that don't, I just want to read a quick bio.
Read it.
Yeah. So, hailing from Los Angeles, California, twin sisters Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio are actresses, dancers, musicians, online influencers. They broke into show business at the age of 2.5 when they both played Summer Newman on the long-running soap The Young and the Restless. Since then, the girls have been featured in commercials, music videos, including Bon Jovi's What You Got and Crystal Bowersox's Farmer's Daughter. Then together or individually on Nickelodeon's Nicky, Dicky and Dawn, Parks and Rec, Legit on FX, Disney Savages, Freak Out, The Closer, Call Janie with Elizabeth Banks and Sigourney Weaver, the Shudder original movie Slapface, which we worked on together, Lionsgate's Fear of Rain with Katherine Heigl and Harry Connick Jr. One of you has an Emmy. The other is nominated for several Emmys for the show The Bay, which we both worked on together. I mean, you just don't stop. The whole interview could just be your bio. You're kind of rocking at this entertainment career thing, and
Oh my gosh, really?
you're kind of rocking it.
Thank you.
I think so. And so, I guess my first question is, do you ever just look in the mirror or at each other, because that's basically the same thing, and just think to yourself, like, wow, like this is my life.
It's definitely really crazy when, like, now reading the bio back, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I forgot. Like, there's so many things that we've done and we've accomplished in our life so far, and it's only going up from here. So, like, I mean, I don't look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, you did it. But I feel like when I look at, like, the responses I get on social media, like, you inspired me to start acting classes or, like, to continue with my career. I think it's those little moments that are like, oh my gosh, like, I've inspired someone else to do what I love. Like, that makes it really fulfilling. But I should look in the mirror more.
you're like, hey, is there a mirror in here that we could get real
Like,
quick?
get one in now, please.
Yeah, to kind of like just say what Chiara was saying is like, you know, we've worked for so long and it's just, this has been our life for so long, and I'm just so grateful every day to, you know, be able to do what I love. And, you know, I wake up grateful and with a smile on my face every morning because I'm with my family. My family is happy, healthy, and safe, and that's really like my main source of happiness. And so the entertainment industry is like a cherry on top, and then I'm grateful I get to do that every day.
Period.
Yeah, that's a great way. Period.
Period.
That's a great way to put it. So you started, which blows my mind. You started at 2.5.
Yeah, and people said we were late to the business. We started at 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Who says that?
Well, when you're twins, they want to cast 2 people for 1 role, so you split your time and get more hours. And we didn't start when we were babies.
Like the Olsen twin kind of
Exactly.
Full House kind of thing. Okay.
We started at 2.5, and then we were on the Restless for like 1.5 years, and we just switched on and off. Oh my gosh. And sorry.
No, you're good.
But people were like, you guys should have started earlier when you guys were like little like babies you'd like hold. And I'm like, that's crazy. But like at the same time, like you get to start working that young.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
what
I'm
is your?
grateful.
I mean, I know that at 2.5, I don't remember anything up to like 7 or 8 maybe. But like, what is your first, I guess, memory having to do with the entertainment industry?
So my first memory was on Young and the Restless.
Okay.
We did a Halloween episode, and one of the only things I remember from my entire time on that show was, so basically the way our hours lined up is that I had to be Summer Newman for the Halloween episode, and my scene was I had to eat candy. And
Or a cupcake.
A cupcake. It was some sort of sweet, and I remember I would look to my right, and I would see my sister and my mom, and my sister's just like, so
Angry
upset
scowl on my face.
because
Yeah.
I'm eating the cupcake and I'm like, that's right.
Yeah.
That
And so
orange cupcake.
I know I wanted it so bad, and because continuity, I had to eat it over and over again. So I
yeah.
remember being on a sugar high, and then like Chiara not having to eat it.
No
That's
cupcake.
all I remember.
I'm still salty about that cupcake.
Yeah.
Put that down.
Yeah, that's a great point for any actors listening. If you have the option to do a scene with food or without food, you think you want the food, but after you do 8 takes in a row with the cupcake, it becomes a lot.
No.
I think when I was a kid, I really didn't mind it because
Well, also,
I
we couldn't
wasn't
work that
really
long either.
Yeah,
So it was
that's
probably like 2 hours at most, and you take time in between
Yeah.
the takes and stuff. So like, I'm sure Bianca was like, yes, it was like a sugar high, but it wasn't as bad. But like, I know people that like
I was on
did
a
for
nice
10
sugar
hours.
rush, and as a little kid, my mom probably did not appreciate me being like
yeah,
jumpy
yeah.
on a sugar rush. From
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
But it was fun for me. I don't mind.
I remember a show that I had to eat, like I had to take a bite of a burger at the end. It was the button, it was the comedic button. So it was like talk, burger, done. And in the beginning I was like, yeah, this is great. And then after like 8 takes, I was like, I can't have another bite. I don't think I had a burger for the rest of the year.
Aww.
So 2.5, and then you came back. How old were you when you came back for the Halloween episode?
I think it was towards the end of our time on the Young and the Restless. I think they aged up Summer Newman, so I think we had to have been at least 3.5, 4.
Oh
maybe.
wow, and you
3.5,
you remember that 3.5 and 4.
there's so
My
many
mom
pictures,
my
too.
parents would know more about it because soap operas they film so far in advance. So I don't really remember. I don't have really a frame of reference for anything before 8. Kind of like what you were
Yeah.
saying.
We're just
I
doing
know-
estimated guesses over here.
Literally,
Yeah.
I'm just guessing over here. But I just have that one vivid memory.
Yeah, you're like all I remember is the cupcake.
I mean,
Oh, that
That makes
cupcake.
sense.
I remember looking at my television parents and being like, yeah, I'm eating this cupcake.
I mean, that cupcake,
I'm eating
yum.
this cupcake.
Now I want a cupcake.
I know.
I know, me too. I need coffee. Coffee? I need coffee and
My
a
parents are from the
cupcake.
East Coast, by the way, so that's
Yeah.
why
It slips out every
coffee
once in a
slips
while.
out every
Slips
once in a
out, I'm
Coffee?
sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
coffee.
you're forgiven.
This is all coffee talk.
Yeah, coffee talk. That's a good name for a podcast too. I wonder. Coffee talk.
Coffee
Welcome to
talk with
Coffee
Mike
Talk.
Manning.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't have the accent, so I don't think it works as much.
Ah, dang.
I know.
Do you not
I'm
know
gonna
how to
work
do it?
on that.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, see?
Oh,
Yeah.
see?
Okay.
go.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna talk for the rest of the podcast. I'm gonna talk like this and.
Oh, that's going to be hard.
No, I don't care. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so 2.5. until 3.5, Young and the Restless. You're working, you're enjoying it. Was there a moment that you sort of decided, this is what I want to do? This is what I love to do? Do you remember sort of that moment? Or was it just kind of like something you did and that was just happened to be your reality?
I mean, I can't really try to remember the moment, but I think I just wanted to keep doing it. Like my mom told me, was like, I would say like, this is so much fun. Like I want to try this again. I want to go out and meet people through auditions, like the casting directors, the people in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
I loved meeting people when I was younger. I still feel that way now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was younger, I wanted to like talk to others. I wanted to experience things, and acting was like my way to do that. And of course, as I got older, I realized like this is my passion. Of course, it's really difficult at times, like you go on like so many auditions, then get that call back, and then get that one booking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you sort of have to have like that balance. But I think that without acting, I would not be the woman that I am today. Like it sucks to say this, but you experienced rejection at such a young age that it definitely shaped me. And now like I can't, like I understand that this is a business. And of course like someone might love you for this, but it just might not work out. So you just have to like take that in with a grain of salt. But even throughout all those moments, I was like, I want to do this. I still want to get that, because I feel like at one day I will get that dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to keep working towards it. So I was like, Mom, I want to keep doing this. She'd be like, Chiara, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Always yes.
Yeah, and kind of saying the same thing is like we would go on vacation every year for Thanksgiving, and we would go like on a family like ski trip, and my mom at the end of it would be like, do you really want to go back? Because we had so much like our time away just spending a time as family, that would be our only time like not, you know, going on auditions and doing stuff and self-tapes. And my mom would be like, do you really want to do this even after, you know, having a break? And at like 7 years old, 10 years old, 13, I would still say the same thing, like, no, I still love it, I still love it. And kind of like what Chiara was saying, like it's all I've ever known, but I still love it, and I still like strive to continue to do what I'm doing every single day.
Mm-hmm. I think that's to your parents' credit. I think that that's a really healthy way to approach it, because so many child actors are thrown into it and forced into it by their parents. And then they get older and they sort of rebel, or they resent the industry for sort of robbing them of their childhoods and everything else. I feel like with you both, at least what I've noticed, is that it's been your choice every step of the way, which allows you to sort of forge your own path as a creative. And I think that that's why, because you're both still in it. You're both still, you're talking right now, you're still passionate about it, you still love it. And I think maybe that's why, is because you were given the choice for yourselves rather than being told you have to do this.
We always had an option. But once you're stung by that acting film industry bug, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I love acting, but I also want to like work behind the scenes too. And we're producing, I'm writing at school. She wants to study directing. So now we're really, really engulfed in the entertainment industry in all aspects. So now it's like it's the same love, but now it's different because I feel it from different angles.
So let's talk about that. So you're both, and this is why I think you're some of the most hardworking, you're the most hardworking twins I know. Aww. And you're some of the most hardworking creatives that I know, because you have not taken any of this for granted. You're continuing your education. You're continuing every day to work on your skills as not only actresses, but writers, producers, directors. Catch us up. What are you doing now in school?
So I am studying screenwriting at the USC School of Cinematic Arts. BFA, full 4-year plan. I absolutely love it. I love my cohort. I love my professors. They really are engaged with us and want to help us. And I've definitely become a better actor through learning how to write. And I can understand I knew how a script worked before, but now I can understand the beats. I can understand how the timing works and what the writer really wants. And that will definitely help me going forward in my acting career. And Bianca, tell them what you're doing.
So I attend the University of California, Berkeley. I am a double major in film and media and English.
Okay.
I love it. My film degree is focused on aesthetics, and I think that's really helped me shape my vision of what I want to be when I'm a director, when I get to directing films and working alongside my sister later on. And then English, I've always loved to read, and it's really helped me write better too. And I just love my program. I graduate this semester, and I'm just kind of taking it all in. It's been a wild 2 years, but I love learning. Chiara loves learning, and I think that's definitely going to help us moving forward.
That's great. That's great. So with that, Chiara, you want to continue acting and writing, or do you? And then Bianca, do you want to continue acting and directing, or is that? Did I get that right?
Yeah, but also like producing stuff in between too. Like I'm PAing for student films at USC. I'm also producing them as well, and I want to be involved still in that way, like get more experience.
I love that. I love that, and I think that's so important. And I think any actors, watching or listening right now, it is so beneficial to work as a PA, production assistant on a set, even volunteering your time just to see all the moving parts, or to like what you said before, to write a script, because then you understand the beat changes and you understand comedic timing, you understand what needs to happen in a scene. And I think what that does is it gives you a reverence for every single line and a respect for every line and for what your character is going through. And it allows you to ask more questions. At least for me, when I started writing, I would figure out why my character said each line.
Yeah.
And I would get very, very specific, and that helped my acting so much, because then you have an opinion about everything. Every single scene exists for a reason. Every single line exists for a reason. If your character didn't want something in the scene wouldn't exist, right?
Yeah, there's no time for a filler space. You got to get your intentions. What do they want? What do they need? How are they going to get it?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think, I guess, what is something working on the other side of the camera, Chiara, with whether it's PAing or whatever else, what's something that you learned, you picked up recently?
That's a very good question. I think for writing, every single space that you have on the page, use it and use it sparingly. How do I phrase this the right way? When you describe what a character is doing, just say that they do it. Don't say that they're like starting to do it. And I think just getting to the action, because even if it's like, a contemporary piece where it's just mostly like family drama, it's not like an action thriller type movie, you still need to have some sort of action what the character is doing. So I think realizing that has definitely helped me as an actor too. Like when I picture myself in the scene, like I have to be doing something internally and externally as well.
I love that.
And writing is definitely helped me with that. But also, like, I can't watch a movie the same anymore. Like, I think I'm like, okay, is it the end of this sequence? Like, okay, did they get their want and need? Is it the end of Act 2, like their lowest moment? Like, now I can't think of it the same way. But now I'm kind of grateful for it, because I need to, every single piece of art, whether that's through movies and television shows that I watch, I need to be able to analyze that and think, okay, what can I take from this and what can I take from this through acting and writing?
Yep. People won't watch movies. They will. That's a lie. But some of my friends don't enjoy watching movies with me anymore, because I will analyze the crap out of
Absolutely.
it. I'll watch and be like, that's it. That should. I mean, good movies, I'll just sit in reverence and I'll just watch. But bad movies, I'm like, well, they should have done this, and if they would have switched these sequences, this would have happened. And but like, we can't help it, right? We're artists, we're creatives. Of course, we're passionate about it.
Yep.
And I love what you said about having an action and sort of coming into the scene late and leaving early, right? So like each scene is a slice of the life of what the character's going through, and that helps as actors think to ourselves, okay, what did my character do before this scene? What is my character going to do after this scene?
Right.
Because we're not just creating our characters for these little scenes. We're creating a full character that comes in and is living a life, even if the camera's not on them. Even if it's not in the script, they still are coming from somewhere. And at least for me, that's really helped me sort of take ownership of the character and ask some of those questions that make the discovery process a bit more fun. Like, oh, what did my character do this morning? What is my character doing later on today? What is this? And often in auditions too, it helps me. It gives me like my moment before. If I could go back and tell myself one thing, I think it would be like, Mike, this is one piece of advice that you need to learn now that'll help you. I think it would be moment before in my auditions, because I feel like it's such an interesting way to start an audition, especially now with self-tapes. So having like a little moment where you're like you have like a thought or a line or an action or something to start the scene just to get you in it, so you're not worrying about your first line. I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's really helped me.
No, I agree, but also it's like it's so fun to create your own world with this character. What like there's storytelling, whether you're an actor or a writer. Like thinking about the moment before, like okay, what is going on? Like how did I get here?
Yeah.
Is a really great mentality whenever you receive like a piece of sides. Like also sometimes like when you get auditions, it might be fake sides, and you know that, so you kind of have to like create your own world based off of that, and the casting director will see that, they will notice that, and that you took the time to really care and think about, okay, this character is me, what I think happened before this. And I think that's a really good piece of advice to give to people.
I think that's like one of my favorite parts and aspects, I mean, of being an actor is like the imagination aspect and the creativity of it. When you audition, you have to almost visualize you're in this space, and you have to create it in your head, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to make your viewer believe that you are actually in this space. So if I was doing a self-tape and I have to be doing a podcast, I have to up against a wall, I have to make it seem like I'm, relaxed. I'm doing this podcast.
You're laying back, you have like
listening.
the camera, or
And I think that's like one of my favorite parts is like letting myself just experience the moment with my character.
Yeah, living in our imaginations. I think that's also a way to. A lot of times I get asked like, by newer actors, how do you memorize and how do you prevent the nerves from taking over? How do you stop being so nervous? And my answer to both of those is imagination. The more that we can live in our imagination, like you said, and imagine that we're in the scene and imagine our characters doing all these things, the easier it is for me to memorize, because the words just kind of store themselves there once I have a full understanding of the scene. And also it helps me stop thinking about myself as an actor trying to get a job and more about, I'm just the character today. It takes the pressure off and it makes it more fun, right? And you're just like, I'm just the character, right? I'm going to try something new. I'm going to live in my imagination, and I'm the character. Both of you clearly, and if not so clearly, then you're doing a great job pretending. But you have just this confidence about
oh my gosh,
you.
Really?
I think so.
Thank
Really,
you, Mike.
really
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, you're making me blush over here.
Yeah, she is blushing. You can see. No,
No, that is just your blush that you put on. The
That's true.
sure. So like your blush, is it real or is it fake? Is this confidence? Where does this confidence come from? From both of you.
I wish I knew. I think at the end of the day, you are having fun and you're getting the opportunity to show someone what you can do. And, whether or not that you get the job or not, like you're having fun. You get to explore a part of yourself that you didn't get to explore yet, and something you really want to explore, whether that's comedy or drama, or you do theater. Like, oh my gosh, like the dream of mine is do theater one day. And I feel like all the experiences that I'm having are leading up to that dream one day. But until like you get to like have fun, you get to play, and I think like that's where like my confidence comes from. It's just like being myself. Like I love to smile. I like to make people laugh, and like I always like want to cheer people up at the end of the day. Like I don't want anybody to be sad. Like whenever my friends are telling me, oh my gosh, wait, let me tell you a story, like a funny story, I embarrass myself. And I feel like having that type of perspective going into auditions, like, oh my gosh, the casting director, like I want to tell you about who I am, and like we want to be friends, or like I want to be friendly with you. So I think you come from that perspective. I think that's how you really shine in an audition.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, like I think, I think going back to what Chiara said a little bit earlier is like we've been doing this for so long, we're used to the rejection aspect. So I'm used to like out of all of my odds, who knows if I'm ever gonna, there's so many reasons
and
why
it's so
you
out
don't
of your
get
hands.
a role. It's so out of your hands. So I just go in and have fun in my auditions because I just leave it on the table. And if I don't get it, I'm just gonna look for the next thing, because that's really what this business is like 90% of it is just auditioning.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really
It's pure
what this,
chance. It's pure chance.
And just do. I always say like just do whatever you want in the audition room, because you're putting yourself out there, and that's when you're gonna feel the most free. And I think I'm gonna be honest with you, I still do get nervous, and I think it is okay to still be nervous, because you still want to do a good job, and you just have to go in and just do what in your heart you think is the best.
Yeah, nervous because you care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not nervous just because you're like, I don't know, but I'm nervous because I care about what I'm doing and I want to do a good job, but I also want to just let myself be free and like live in the world of the character.
Yeah, I don't think I've worked with an actor, you know, big or small, you know, big career or just starting out, that wasn't nervous. And it's because we care so much. It's
natural.
Yeah.
You're gonna be nervous.
Yeah, Helen Mirren, I was watching an interview that she did, and she said, I still have it. I mean, Dame Helen Mirren, she's has a tremendous career, and she said, every time I leave set, I wonder, what's my next job? Am I going to get another job? And every time before a play or before the camera rolls on day one, I get nervous. And it's because she cares about it, right? And I think as actors, we love what we do so much that there's always that little whisper in our heads of like, what if you fail? What if you don't get to do this anymore? But I think we keep at it because we love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody has that. So whether you're newer or whether you are in year, 30 of your career, like everybody has that nervousness, and I think it's a healthy place to be when you can embrace it rather than try to fight it and use it. Say, look, this nervousness is going to make sure that I prepare more and work harder and everything else, rather than, oh, I'm just going to pretend I'm not nervous, right?
Yeah.
It's because we're human. Yeah. Okay, so at least for me, I remember, my awkward teenage years, I'm so glad that there wasn't a camera there. It's hard enough being a young person. It's hard, especially today. It's hard enough being a teenager. It's hard enough having everything on social media. And you two did it all in front of the camera and enjoyed it. So can you talk about that maybe for younger actors that are nervous about sort of growing up with their lives in front of the camera? How did you sort of navigate that, your childhood years, social media, that sort of thing?
Things are gonna change. You're gonna get older. You're gonna get more wise. You're starting high school. You're gonna be graduating high school. You're gonna be thinking about college. Like, you're gonna be thinking about all those things. But I think if you're honest with your audience, they'll really appreciate that because they're going through the same thing, just not in front of a camera. And you come from that place of like, I'm speaking out about it. Let's talk in the comments. Like, what do you think? Like, what are you going through? I want to make sure I can help you. I think it doesn't come from a place of like, oh, you're watching me. It's more of like, hey, I know I'm in front of a camera, I'm in front of a microphone, but like, I'm just talking. Let's have a conversation because I really want to help you whatever you're going through, because we're all, whether you're an adult or I'm going through high school or college, we're all going through sort of similar things. We're all trying to like grow up and be really mature and have long and fulfilling careers. And I think from any age, if you just come from the point of like, man, like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, this is like not a good day, or I'm having a great day, I want to tell you about it. It doesn't feel like you're being watched all the time. It's just like, hey, I'm telling you what's going on with me. It's like very personal. And I think that's a blessing of social media, is that you get to be personal and you get to have those really amazing conversations. Of course, there's bad parts of social media, but if you come from it and you just like, there's going to be hate comments, and if you just be like, I'm not going to look at it, then you can avoid all of that as much as you can. So I think that's the perspective that I come from.
Yeah, honestly, when we started social media, we didn't get as much hate comments like as we started getting a little bit older, and I didn't really think it was going to affect me as much because we were so used to rejection. But I think like the first, like, I would say like 13, 14 is, I really started to be affected by if I got a few, but then I really was like, you know what, like, they don't know me. And, we still, I still make sure I check in with like everyone that supports us, and I want to see how they're doing, but, they don't know me, and, it's okay. Like, I'm going to get comments. Everyone's going to get comments, and I'm just going to like focus on the people that do see me and I connect with on like social media. And those are the people that I'm going to try to do my career for. Like, those, I'm trying to like inspire people that, care about me. And I think, I guess, what is it? I'm like blanking on. Never mind.
What was it?
But you're talking about being authentic.
Yeah.
In on one hand, being authentic and being vulnerable and sharing yourself with your audience, which I think is powerful, and being able to. So often I see people just posting the fun, filtered, happy, smiley pictures, and they're broadcasting a version of their lives that is not 100% truthful to what they're going through. And I think that the people that I see that are successful on social media and build a fan base are the people that are willing to be vulnerable, and not all the time, but at least once in a while, saying, like you said, I'm having a bad day, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and being willing to share themselves with their audience. Because I mean, I think that is at the core of entertainment. That's why audiences like entertainment so much. That's why they go to the theater, or that's why they invite us, you know, on a TV show into their living rooms to watch, is because they want to see themselves on screen. They want to know that they're not the only ones going through whatever they're going through. They want to see those human moments in those characters. And I think that's also the same for social media. They go online, and if whether it's TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, they go online and they want to know that they're not alone in the world, that they want to connect with people. And I think it's very brave that both of you sort of approached it with that mindset of like sharing yourselves and your childhoods and yes, the highlights of the entertainment industry. Of course, you're like, oh, I just booked this, I just did this comes out in theaters, please watch it. Like you're excited to share it, but also like, yeah, I'm having a bad day, or yeah, I missed out on this, or I'm having a hard time. And I feel like that is why, because you have a pretty loyal fan base right now. And
yeah, we grew up with them. I mean, we started Instagram. Obviously, it was our parents controlled it, but we started. When did we start Instagram? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know when
our
Instagram
parents helped
started.
us monitor it until we were old enough.
okay.
And then, you know, they still do, because they want to make sure that, like, you know, everything's going okay. And, you know, kind of going back to the hate comments is like, you know, they're like, well, you know, just like my mom was like, just avoid this. But I'm like, you know, like, if people want to write something, you know, all the people that have been, you know, supporting us for so long, and they connect with us is like, and we connect with them, is like, the haters don't really, you know, they don't care to go back to the beginning of when we started this. And so they don't really know me. And so the people that, you know, comment and support us, they do know me, because I share myself on social media. And I think that's what I, you know, switched my mindset, is like, you know, these people, if they don't want to, you know, see my, you know, life, that's totally fine. But these people do, and I want to connect with those people. And so I think that's definitely helped us as we've gotten older.
But I feel like we didn't start at this place. We had to grow up into it, because I'm being completely honest with you. When you get rejected, oh my gosh, I keep touching this microphone, I'm so sorry. When you keep auditioning and get rejected from an audition, you don't hear back from them. Like, it's just like, it doesn't happen. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But with social media, you read the comments. You read what people think of you. So at the time when we were younger, my parents wanted to protect us from it, because it's just it's a really icky situation to be in, especially at that young of an age.
Yeah.
And I feel like as you grow older, you realize that people are always going to have an opinion of you. They're always going to say something. But if you just like channel and be like, okay, like, this is what they think of me, that's not how I think of myself. That's not how my friends think of me. That's not how my family thinks of me. And I feel like that's a really good place to be at, but it's hard to get there. Not going to lie. We had to really be mature at a young age to feel comfortable to do that. But now I'm like, you know, I'm in college. I want to share my college years with people. I want to share my experiences as an actor and a writer, aspiring writer. And I think that you just have to be like, you know what? Just brush it off. Just brush it off.
It took us a little while to get to that point.
Right.
But I think, you know, we've learned from it. We've become better people from it.
And now I know what to write from, a place of, I have inspo now.
Yeah, you have life to pull from.
Yep.
Do you think that you I think I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask, do you think having each other has made all the difference in building that confidence?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we support each other. We hold each other up when one is down. And I think that I don't know what we would, you know, how we would do in the business if we didn't have each other. Because, you know, I'm not saying like in the working sense, because we worked individually and together, but I mean in terms of like having someone who understands exactly what you're going through at the exact same time to talk to about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I always talk to my parents about auditions and stuff, but I think, you know, having my sister and I, like, we know each other on that other level, because we both know what it feels like. And so
yeah, you're experiencing life with someone at the same time, and that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, my sister's my best friend. And yes,
don't let it get to your head.
I will. Don't. And you know, you can tease each other all you want, and you can like be like, oh man, I'm so mad at my sister, but like, you're gonna move past it. Like, it's your sister, it's your family, it's your best friend.
I think that's so important too. Is in this industry, it is so full of rejection. It is so full of feeling like you're not good enough here, or you really wanted that part, and there's a lot of letdowns associated with the industry. I think it's important, whether it's your sibling or friends or whatever, just to have your tribe, right? To have people that you can talk to and hang out with and sort of refill your tank as an artist. Because one of my favorite quotes is as an artist, we can't pour from an empty cup. And we can't,
That's good.
Thank you. I forget where I heard it, but it's just always stuck with me. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like, as an artist, we have to keep our souls fulfilled and happy, or else when it comes time to be an artist and to create a character or to be on set or whatever, and we tip that cup over, nothing's going to be in there to give. There will be nothing left to give unless we maintain ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our souls, And I think having your tribe, whether it's your twin sister or best friend or another sibling, is just so important to help maintain that. So, okay, we listed off your resume, and it was, I think, only half of it in the beginning of this podcast. You've been a part of some really, really cool projects. What was the moment, if any, that you felt like you made it?
That's a tough
Heavy
question.
sigh.
No, I just Mike Manning. You're asking all the tough questions this morning. Man,
I think honestly, like, I think I'm still growing, and I don't, I've done amazing things in my life, and I'm so grateful for every single part. And this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I think, I'll feel like I made it when, I've been doing, I don't know, I don't think I've made it yet in that sense, because I still feel like there's so much I want to do, and so much I want to create behind the scenes in front of the camera. And I don't know, I don't feel like there's been a defining moment where I've, had that moment of, oh, I made it, because I still feel like I'm able to grow, and I want to grow.
Yeah.
I want to do more, see more, live more.
and like, we've had like life-changing moments. Like, don't get me wrong, but I want to explore. Like, I want to do more. Like, I want to keep like, doing more things. I want to like keep adding to my bio.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm still changing. I'm still growing, and I'm very grateful for the things that I have had and the things that I have done, and I want to add to that. I want to keep like compiling, opportunities. I want to keep compiling new life experiences, and I think that there still is room for me to grow, and I can't wait to see what will happen.
See, I think hearing both of you say that is a great. You're just so smart, and you're wise beyond your years.
Oh my gosh!
But it's just it's and I think it's because you've been doing this since you were 2.5 with the cupcakes. But and I just think it's such a healthy mindset to have, because I think so many actors are like, I am going to feel like a failure until this happens, until this. And it's like, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey, right? And as long as we love what we're doing, I think with actors, you have to sort of make a decision one day of like, I love this so much. If I'm doing community theater for the rest of my life, but I'm touching audiences and I'm getting to dig deep and create these characters, I'm going to be happy. It shouldn't be like, if I don't win an Oscar by age, 25, I'm a failure, because I think it just sets us up for unhappiness. But with what you're doing, I mean, you have a remarkable resume already, but you're like, I love this so much. I just want to keep going. And it's not like, oh, I need to do this. You're taking that pressure off of yourselves.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Marathon, not a sprint. There we go. Chiara D'Ambrosio, marathon.
Chiara D'Ambrosio, said from Lisa D'Ambrosio. She said that for years.
Yeah.
Give all the credit to her.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very healthy mindset. Okay, what do you have any? Okay, you've had so many projects, and we've already heard about the cupcake story. Do you have any other fun stories from set or from auditions or?
I mean,
you want to go first?
well, I think I know what you were gonna say, because I think we talked about it before. I think
Wait, the audition or like set experience?
set experience.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
I feel like I've had so many amazing experiences so far, but I feel like one of the best times of my life was working in Puerto Rico for 2 weeks. We went for the Bay.
Okay.
It was so life-changing. There was a lot of ups and downs during that trip. There was a lot of times I was really stressed out. I was taking like a break from school because I had finished for the summer. and I was starting college applications, like, you know, getting my letters of rec and stuff. So like there was all that pressure starting to come onto me. But also like it was so fun getting to work with the Bay family and be somewhere that I'd never been before and experience a whole new culture and life that I've always wanted to experience. And I feel like that was a great experience for me to have, an amazing 2 weeks. It was stressful, not gonna lie, but like, you know, you were there and like it was so much fun. And I don't know, like I've had so many experiences, but I feel like that was very monumental. It was also right after the Emmys.
It was the night
We left
the red eye.
we took a red eye to Miami, then went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I forgot
and it was
about that.
very fast to like process everything that just happened. So I feel like it was, I don't know, it was a great 2 weeks and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because Chiara and I were talking about this a few weeks ago, like that was an amazing experience we've had on set. But I would say, you know, I'm grateful for every single experience. I've had great times on all my sets, but I would have to say Slapface.
Because I was like,
That
Slapface.
was one of the best
Oh,
experiences.
And
my
I've said that-
movie.
and I
makes me
said
so
that we
happy.
said that to you
We've
before.
said that.
Okay.
I said it to you, right?
I know, but I thought you were just being nice.
No.
I
mean, we are
I
being
think-
nice.
Yeah,
No,
but-
but like,
I talk to, you know, Mirabelle and August all the time, and I'm like, you know, that was honestly like one of my favorite experiences. Like we were in Fishkill, New York. Like we
Yeah.
were really like
in the middle of nowhere.
in the middle of nowhere almost. And, you know, just had to, like, you know, rely on each other. We were together for a week, you know. When
During
we went
Halloween.
To Walmart.
Yeah,
We went to Walmart,
we went to
get the
Walmart to get
the-
Halloween costumes.
The Halloween costumes, the onesies.
Yeah.
When we had to film at that abandoned prison. That was, it was so cold, but, like, we were running and it
Yeah.
was so fun. And it was just, we were hanging out all the time. And it was one of the best experiences. Like, the night before, we, like, all had to separate. And, like, we went to the diner.
Yep.
And it was one of the best
Yeah.
experiences I've ever had, you know, besides Puerto Rico and other experiences. But, yeah, I always say, like, Slapface, I just moved the mic. I always say Slapface is probably one of my favorite experiences I've ever had.
Wow,
And then
that's-
audition story.
Yeah, well, I want to comment on that. We'll get to auditions. I just
Right.
want to comment on that. Number one, I didn't know that you were going to say Slapface. This wasn't like a plant or anything.
No.
And then you also said The Bay, which we've worked on together. And I think that you have so many amazing experiences with so many projects that are much bigger than The Bay and Slapface. And yet these were your two favorite that you picked, and I think that that's important for anybody listening that's afraid to sort of create their own content. Is that The Bay, and The Bay has 23, 25 whatever Emmys at this point. I mean, it's an amazing show. It's an independent show created by Gregory J. Martin that and Christos Andrews and sort of they've expanded it year after year after year. To be what it is. It was like basically a web series, and now it's, you know, a Category 1 TV show at the Emmys, and then that was one of your favorite experiences, right? And Slapface, we did that for like not a lot of money. We were calling in all of our favors. We shot in Fishkill, New York.
Cold.
It was cold
In the
in
fall.
the fall
In the
/ winter,
woods.
basically
In
in the
the
woods
woods at
outdoors,
night.
and I remember that set because I produced it. I was in it, and I remember I didn't sleep for like a month.
You did not
All
sleep.
month. I
Do you
didn't.
remember when you scared us?
Yes, and first day of set.
First day of set,
we're
he
driving
scared
in
us.
the dark. It's 5 a.m. and we're like, we have no idea where we're going. We're trying to get to this house. All of a sudden, you come out with like your phone flashlight and like scare us at the window.
Right by the window.
And I was like, well,
And it
this
was
is how
5
this
in the
day
morning.
won.
Yeah.
I was like, this is how my week's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to keep
We're
you on
filming
your
a horror
toes.
movie, so yeah.
Yeah, filming a horror movie, but it like I don't remember a time where I've been so stressed. But then we release it, and it's a Shudder original. It's one of their best performing films of that year. I think it was 2022 that it came out, and it's like the little movie that could. And I think it's
And
just
it did.
And it did. It could, and it did.
And it did.
Mic drop.
Boom,
Please don't
period.
drop the mic.
Can you imagine?
no,
We just
but-
went,
But like it's just that fills me with pride because there were so many times on that set where I just remember sitting in my car, like haven't showered, haven't slept, and I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? Like why? But to hear you say, and August I think had a great experience too. August Maturo, who was your
We love
co-star.
August.
We love August, yeah, and it's just like it just makes me happy that you had such a good experience.
yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the best experiences because we still keep in touch with everyone from the set all these years later because we filmed it 2019.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
the
God.
end of 2019.
We just started high school, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it
filmed
was
the end of 2019. We edited during 2020, basically during the pandemic. And then we sold it at the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021. And then it came out in 2022. Wow.
so many years ago, but it's still like, you know, like on Snapchat memories, you get like, you know, 5 years ago today you were doing this. And so like in October, I would get like all of the memories from like Halloween night because you guys were filming during Halloween. I just, I still think about that experience often. So
cool.
Thank you for that one.
Well, thank you for
Mike.
saying that.
Mike
Thank
C.
you.
Manning.
No, not anymore. We killed the C. It's just Mike Manning now.
Mike Manning.
Yeah.
John,
so
how dare you bring up
for
the
so
I can't read that far.
Yeah,
I have
no,
glasses on.
no.
I can't see.
So what happened was in SAG, you can only have one actor with that name, or else it'll mess up with residuals and everything else. So when I first joined SAG, there was a Mike Manning in SAG, and so they were like, you have to change your name somehow. So I added the C. But every year I would call SAG and be like, is there still a Mike Manning? Is there still a Mike Manning? And I searched and searched for whoever this was on social media. I had producer friends, casting director friends try to track down who this other actor in SAG named Mike Manning was. And I could never do it. And I called, like I would, you know, there's this 85-year-old actor, and I messaged him, and he's like, I'm not in SAG. And then there was another, 7-year-old actor in Mexico, and he's like, I'm not in SAG. And so I was like, who is this actor? And then finally, I think it was in 2019 or 2020, I called SAG. I was like, hey, just check in my annual, is there still a Mike Manning? And they said no. So I don't know what happened to the other Mike Manning. You know, I'm not even going to speculate. There was no longer a Mike Manning in SAG, so then I took the Mike Manning name and I chopped the C away. Because for me, the C just never fit. It felt pretentious to me. It just didn't feel like me.
Is that like your middle name? I feel like
Christopher is my middle name,
Sorry,
so I added the C.
So I feel like that was like a dumb question for me to ask. I was like,
No,
curious what your middle name
It could be
because
Caleb.
People change their names. It could be Caleb, character on the Bay.
Yeah.
People change their names all the time, so
Caleb, it didn't even, sorry.
Caleb McKinnon, right?
Caleb McKinnon. There we go. So then the C's not there anymore. It just felt weird. And when I would say it fast, like on a red carpet or whatever, I'm like Mike C. Manning. It sounded like I was saying Mike C. instead of Mike C. So I was like, I just don't like. I see. You see Mike C.
I see Mike.
Yeah.
That's how Mike sees it.
That would have been a cool name for a podcast if I still had the C.
Oh.
Mike sees it.
I love how on this podcast you're thinking about
'Cause
other
they did-
I
names
know why
for
this
other
is
podcasts.
this
Well,
is
no,
my
from-
ADD brain.
From
It's-
another
Yeah, no.
show for Sue Sylvester, like, because that's how Sue sees it. I'm like, that's how
Yeah.
Mike sees it.
See, I should have brainstormed names with you. I like Actors Agenda. I feel like
I
it's,
like it.
Okay.
Keep it.
You
You didn't keep the C, but keep this title.
You don't keep the C, but keep the title. The D'Ambrosio stamp of approval.
Yes. Now it's going to be changed poster. The D'Ambrosios approved this message.
Improve this message. Okay, so one, because I have some other stuff I want to get to. One quick audition story, if you have one.
So I forgot how old we were. We were auditioning for this commercial, and when I was younger, so I lost like my one front tooth. You know what I'm about to say.
Okay,
I always say this one because it is the most. It is one of the most funny experiences I've ever had in my life.
Okay.
And so we go for this callback, but I had a flipper in, and basically it was a fake tooth because I lost one of my teeth.
It's like a retainer, but only has one tooth
Great.
on
Okay.
it.
So
Right.
it's called a
Right.
flipper.
Flipper.
Okay.
And Chiara and I both had it because we both happened to lose like the same tooth at the same
We're
time.
twins. I mean,
Wow,
I know,
you lost
right?
the same tooth at the
Same
same
front
time. Okay, let's be real. Were one of you like in the bathroom like with a hammer trying to knock the tooth out because the other one lost it?
No, it
No?
was just how it happened.
Just
I
how it
kid you not, 'cause
happened.
Otherwise, that is the
Fascinating.
only same tooth we've lost at the same time. Otherwise, it's been like, you know,
It's
different
matched.
parts. But it's just
Okay.
that's the one thing. But anyways, moving on from teeth. So we had it, but the first audition they didn't have us eat anything. Second, we go from the callback, and they didn't tell us we were gonna eat anything. So we're like, oh, we're thinking it's the same thing. We're gonna be maybe matched with like a parent.
Mm-hmm.
We get in, and they're like, can you eat this? I think it was peanut butter or was it yogurt? I can't really remember.
I think it was a yogurt.
I think it was a yogurt. I
Oh,
don't know
no.
why I'm forgetting, but I just remember this. And we go in this audition, and it is like because you're not supposed to eat with the flipper. You're not allowed to eat with the flipper.
Okay.
So we start to eat because, they're telling us to
Yeah,
eat.
'cause-
We're like, what if we said no? Like,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're just like,
8 years old. We're like, we can't.
Yeah, you can't say, I'm sorry, I have a fake tooth. I can't eat this yogurt
Exactly.
right now.
So I'm like, me and Chiara and I panic. We're like, uh-oh. So we're eating, and it's just like, as we're doing the lines, like the flipper's falling out. It was a disgusting thing. And we finished it, and it's like halfway through my mouth, and I'm like, okay, thank you. We walk out, my mom looks at us, she's like, what the heck happened? Because they told us in the room that we'd have to eat. It wasn't like I was with my mom outside.
Yeah.
It was in the room. And I'll never forget that experience. Like, that look on my mother's face.
It
was just like...
Was your flipper just, like, hanging out?
Yeah, and it had, like... And
It was
I
like a tongue. It was like...
there was things everywhere because they didn't give us a napkin or anything. So it was just...
no.
Yeah. But anyway...
Wow.
Fun, like...
It looked like
we
he ate paint or something.
It did. It was everywhere. It was everywhere.
Wow. So, yeah, I think commercial auditions... I don't go on as many commercial auditions because for me, I feel like it's just... They're so quick, and I feel like for me, it's less about the character and it's more about... a certain look or a certain, like, it's more like a cattle call to me, and it sort of takes the fun out of auditioning as much. I mean, I still do once in a while, but for me, I mean, there's so many, I think auditions, film and television auditions are pretty, like, you go in, you have your character, you have your scene. Commercial auditions, it's like the Wild West. You'll go in there, you'll sit on a chair, drive a car, do a backflip, talk to,
Have you ever had to do a backflip?
Not a backflip, but no, not a backflip. But, like, I'm sure somebody has somewhere.
Somewhere.
But
Another Mike Manning has done it.
Mike C. Manning.
Mike C. Manning has done
No. The other Mike Manning before he left SAG. But yeah, I feel like that's a bizarre story. I've never heard of a tooth falling out. But you had to, I mean, this is it. Like, we're weird. We're actors. We're weird, and it's gonna be weird. It was a bizarre experience. That's not the last bizarre experience you're gonna have. We just kind of have to embrace it, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're able just to laugh about it now and you're not traumatized every time you see a toothpaste commercial, it's just
I don't think it was toothpaste. I think it was like
yogurt.
It was some food because it tasted good. I remember being like, "Oh, this is so good," and I'm like, I'm choking on my flipper because it's moving all back in my mouth. And I literally was like, it was bad. It was.
Every time you see a Yoplait commercial, you're just like, ah.
No, it was like
But then we went home that same night and ate like our strawberry and blueberry Yoplait.
Oh my god, that was
Okay.
my favorite. No,
Always
but
have
like like the three of us still laugh about it all the time. Like my whole family, we still talk about it because it's like one of the like best experiences. Cause
It's a
just
core
so
memory.
Core memory.
Core
of being
memory.
An actor
The flipper.
is
the
the
tooth.
flipper.
Yeah.
Core memory brought to you by Yoplait.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that like because we lost the same tooth around the same time, but for some reason our teeth were growing at different parts, and we had to play twins for that audition. So we had to get the flipper so we would match.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was just bad, but it was funny. It was
That
funny.
unlocked a core memory for
know,
me.
right?
Okay, last two questions. I wish I could keep you here all day, but you have school. One of you has, yeah,
It's
Chiara, you
me.
have school. I have to go get educated. Okay, so what do you love to do that has nothing to do with entertainment? Is there
Read.
Read.
Yeah.
Read. I love to read. Last week before my midterm, I studied for my midterm, but before my midterm, and I was like getting really nervous about it, I read 6 books in 2 days, and they were like novels. I don't know what was going on with me, but I was just like, it was
6 books in 2 days. Wow.
love to
Okay.
read.
I was having not the best week.
Okay.
And I sort of needed to find comfort in something. And I just I'm a huge Kindle reader. Like I love physical books, but now like I need to read on a Kindle or like an audiobook. And I just read it really fast. And like obviously I'd be in class and I'd be like participating, but after class like I would have like long breaks and I'm just like reading. And like I read really really fast, which is like also helpful like as like a writer. Like I can like comprehend the story in like a quicker pace. So like it's definitely helped me. Like I know what type of characters like off of reading books. Like, I know what type of characters like I want to write, or like what type of books I'm like. Oh my god, I keep moving this microphone.
Yeah.
Or like what type of characters I'm like really inspired by.
Yeah.
So like that was definitely a huge comfort for me.
Yeah.
But I love to
Reading.
read.
I mean, I love to read. That's what my degree is in
Yeah.
Berkeley. I love reading. It's been my favorite. Probably one of my favorite aspects of being at Berkeley is studying novels and poetry and learning different aspects of writing, because writing prose and screenplays, they're different,
so
but they have
different.
similarities.
Yeah.
but they're so different in other aspects. It's just I love to read, and maybe that is kind of like because I'm relating it to the entertainment industry.
I just changed the question. I'm so sorry, Mike Manning.
Yeah, you did. I mean,
please forgive me, Mike Manning.
It's okay. You get a pass. No, but I think that, you know, having it, you can choose whether, I think the distinction becomes you can choose whether to apply it to the entertainment industry or just escape in a book that has nothing to do with the job.
Too. I do both.
Simultaneously. It's crazy.
Crazy.
I also love playing with my dog. I need to mention my dog,
Your dog,
Matt. My rescue dog, Matt.
Dogs, love dogs. We love dogs. They keep us going.
Yes.
Shout out to my dogs, Brando and Jake at home.
Oh, they're so cute.
Thank you.
They're
Thank
so
you.
cute.
Okay, last question. And this, I always like to end on this. Simultaneous. If you could go back, specifically for you two, I think it's going to be an interesting answer. If you could go back and tell your younger selves one thing to sort of help you navigate this crazy industry, what would it be?
Don't give up. You're gonna have a lot of those moments where like there's so many factors that play into whether you get a role or not, and I think that you get in your head a little bit. Of course, that's so natural. Like that's totally fine to do, but at some point you just have to be like, you leave whatever you did in the room and you just step out and you like separate yourself from like the actor who's playing that role and who you are. And just don't give up on your dream. Like it will happen one day. You just need someone to believe in you and like give you that opportunity, but it will happen. And don't stop. And when you feel discouraged, you're gonna want to stop. Like it happens to every single actor. Like I'm sure you've experienced it too.
Yeah, of course.
But if you just move past it and you just like, you know what, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna keep working on it. Maybe like, you know, I reevaluate like, okay, what could I have done differently? What can I learn from this experience rather than, man, I'm so mad at myself. Like just like teenage learning experiences. Like this is like you're all like growing.
Yeah.
And this will be like something that you remember in your story when you write your own memoir one day.
Yeah.
So it's just a chapter in your book. Don't give up.
And is that sort of the same with you?
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, perseverance and just keep moving through. It just, you know, this business can be so demanding and, you know, heartbreaking because, you know, it's hard. It's a really, it's a fun business. It's a creative business. It's an amazing business, but it's not easy. It's not, you know, it's really hard. And I think, you know, also what's really helped us is like, you know, we take a step back and like, we just, you know, take time for ourselves and spend time with our family and friends and just get away from the entertainment industry, you know, even if it's for a weekend, and just take peace within ourselves. And I think those breaks have helped me, you know, keep my stamina on for so long because you're gonna burn out after a while. Everyone's burnt out. We've burnt out, you know, we burn out in, you know, different times, same times. It's just, you know, take care of yourself. I think that's what I would say to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have one more piece of advice. Don't wait for that breakdown to come through.
Yes.
Like you gotta start making your own opportunities for yourself.
Make your own
because
opportunities.
you know, I at certain times you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just waiting for that perfect role to come by. But why don't you create it yourself?
Yeah.
You know yourself. You know the stories that you want to be a part of and the stories you want to tell. Just go ahead and learn. Exactly.
Yeah. So for anybody watching or listening from the mouths of Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio, don't give up, persevere, create your own opportunities. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm Mike Manning. This is the Actors Agenda. And today we had Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mike
Bye,
Manning.
everyone.
Bye.
It's the Actors Agenda.